हेलो नानी हो आज म तिमीहरुको 2016 को एचएस को ज्योग्राफी क्वेशन को आन्सर लङ क्वेशन को आन्सर दिन लागिरहेछु। मैले सर्ट क्वेशन को आन्सर दिइसकेकी छु, तिमीहरुलाई शेयर साझा गरिसकेको छु। अनि अब 2016 को लङ क्वेशन अन्त जम्मा तिमीहरुले 5 वटा गर्नुपर्छ, तर 5 वटामा तिमीहरुको अरहरु गरेर 7-8 वटा प्रश्न हुन्छ। त त्यो अरको प्रश्न पनि लगाएर म दुई वटा प्रश्नको लामो प्रश्नको उत्तर एक वटा भिडियोमा दिन्छु। तिमीहरुले यो दशैंको छुट्टीमा सबैलाई ह्यापी दशहरा। अनि दशैंको छुट्टीमा यो प्रश्न उत्तर हेर्छौ अनि लेखेर पढ्न सुरु गर्छौ। ओके, सो प्रश्न छ, describe with the help of diagram any 4 landforms produced by marine erosion or explain with suitable diagrams how are web cut platform, natural arc and blowhole formed. ओके, तीनवटा फिचर्स चाहिँ केमा मागेको छ तिमीहरुलाई नक्सा सहित मागेको छ, यानी कि यो 5 मार्क्सको प्रश्न हो। अनि योसँग जोडिएको अझै के पनि हुन्छ 2 मार्क्सको प्रश्न पनि हुन्छ, जम्मा 7 मार्क्सको हुन्छ। सो I'll read out your answer slowly. Okay, erosion by sea waves gives rise to a variety of features. The abrasion action of sea waves results in undercutting of the rocks on the coast. As the rocks are undercut, the side facing the sea becomes stiff and forms a vertical wall-like feature. Okay, this is called Cclip. Due to continuous undercutting, a notch is created at the base of the cliff, and in course of time the notch is enlarged so that what happened? It is enlarged and the cliff overhangs. यहाँ नक्सामा जस्तो छ त्यस्तो के माथिबाट ह्याङ भाग जस्तो देखिन्छ। Ultimately, the block of rock that is overhanging falls into the sea and the cliff collapses. Sea cliffs are found on the west coast of India. यहाँ नक्सा तिमीहरुको दिएको छ sea coast, notch, high tide wave, low tide wave, and this is called Cclip. Okay, त्यसपछि आउँछ, due to the uprising breakers, waves, weak and joint rocks at the base of the cliff are eroded further. The joints are widened so that large hollows are formed. Okay, in course of time the hollows are enlarged and the features develops into a Cclip. When there are 2 caves on opposite side, they cut back to back so that their rear walls meet and a natural arc is formed. Okay, how natural arc is formed, it is explained. Okay, gradually the roof of the arc becomes thinner and thinner, and ultimately what happened? It collapses. The walls remain standing isolated as the pillars, forming stack. The pillar like given the stacks. The old man of Hay in the Orkney Island of the British Isles is an example of a stack. Further erosion of stack result in the reduction of its height, forming a stump. यो सबैको कसरी बनिन्छ? स्टम्प, स्ट्याक, आर्क एन्ड केभ। यो यहाँनिर के देखाइएको छ? नक्सा ड्राइङ बनाएर देखाएको छ, जुन चाहिँ तिमीहरुले पनि के गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ? बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। When strong waves enter the cave, the air inside the cave is compressed. Finding no other routes to escape, this air forces its way out through the roof of the cave, creating a hole in roof. The air passes out through this hole with a whistling sound. This hole is called gloves or a blowhole. यहाँ तिमीहरुको नक्सामा देखाएको छ ग्लब्स र ब्लोहोल है. As the blowholes are enlarged and the cave roof is weakened, it collapses and a long narrow inlet or the crater develops. This is called a ZU. These features are found on the Norwegian coast and along the Adriatic Sea. Okay. यहाँ नक्सा हेर, यो नक्सा हेरेपछि तिमीहरुले बुझ्छौ सी केप छ एकतिर भने माथितिर ब्लो होल्स छ, त्यसको माथि ग्लप. अनि अर्को छ तिम्रो Cclip Sea. Wave-cut platforms is the features formed by the recession of a sea cliff landward. It is rock-cut flat surface in front of a cliff. It is smoothened by the abrasion action of the sea waves. The wave-cut platform are formed on the western coast of Norway and India. यहाँ तिमीहरुको देखाएको छ फर्स्ट स्टेज स्वप स्ट्राइक हैन, यो देखाएको छ. त यहाँसम्म भयो तिमीहरुको यो प्रश्नको उत्तर. अब अर्को त्यसैसित जोडिएको अर्को प्रश्न छ, डिस्टिंग्विश बिट्विन एक्युफियर एन्ड द एक्युक्लट्स. एक्युक्लट्स र एक्युफियरमा के भिन्नता छ? यो 2 मार्क्सको भएकोले गर्दा यहाँ भिन्नता 3 वटा दिएको छ र राम्ररी हेर. नम्बर 1 मा छ एक्युफियर इज द लेयर अफ रक्स होल्डिङ वाटर अन्डर द ग्राउन्ड. Cclip is a zone that restricts the flow of water from one aquifer to another. त्यो बीचको जुन चाहिँ सीमाना, एक्युफियरको बीचको सीमानालाई भनिन्छ हैन. 2 नम्बर, इट इज अ पर्मिएबल लेयर अफ रक्स बट इट इज कम्प्लिटली इम्पर्मिएबल. Cclip चाहिँ के हुन्छ? यो चाहिँ इम्पर्मिएबल हुन्छ. नम्बर 3, ग्राउन्ड वाटर क्यान बी एक्सट्र्याक्टेड फ्रम एन एक्युफियर बाय बोरिङ अ वाल. तर ground water cannot be extracted from the Cclip. Okay, यो भयो एउटा प्रश्नको उत्तर. अब नेक्स्ट छ तिमीहरुको नेक्स्ट क्वेशन छ. यसमा भनिएको छ डिस्कस द डिफरेंट टाइप्स अफ ड्रेनेज प्याटर्न विथ द हेल्प अफ डायग्राम. ओके, यो पनि 5 मार्क्स को छ र सब नम्बर 1 मा छ डेन्ड्राइटिक ड्रेनेज प्याटर्न जुन चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ? जरा जस्तो हुन्छ, हाँगर जस्तो हुन्छ. Drainage pattern may be defined as the physical forms and pattern formed by streams, rivers and the lakes in a particular drainage basin. The factors affecting drainage pattern are structure and the lithology of the underlying rocks, climate, particularly rainfall, topography of the region and the denudation history of the region. कुनै पनि एउटा ड्रेनेज प्याटर्न कस्तो खालको हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि त्यसको टोपोग्राफी, त्यसको क्लाइमेट, त्यसको स्ट्रक्चर, लिथोलोजी अथवा रक स्ट्रक्चर कस्तो छ त्यो माथि के हुन्छ? आधारित हुन्छ. ओके, अनि नक्सा तिमीहरुको यहाँ छ. फेरि अब अर्को छ अल्टरनेट हार्ड एन्ड सफ्ट रक्स अफ rock given rise to the trellis drainage pattern. अब आउँछ तिम्रो trellis drainage pattern. Okay, here the streams avoid the hard rocks bands and flow through the bands of soft rocks so that they join the main river at right angle and their tributaries also joins them at right angle. This pattern also develops in a folded region with parallel antecedent rays and the synclinal valley. The streams developed along the flanks of the region and joins each other at right angle, again in glaciated region linked with the drumlines and in the coastal region linked with the sand dunes. Trellis pattern of drainage developed. It can also develop in a region of parallel fault. Okay, the next छ ट्रेलिस प्याटर्न. यहाँ माथिपट्टि अलिकति ट्रेलिस प्याटर्नको नक्सा काटिएको छ तर पनि तिमीहरूले देख्दैछौ माथिपट्टि नक्सा हैन. ट्रेलिस रेक्टेंगुलर ड्रेनेज डेभलप्ड where there are intersecting faults and joints so that the streams meet at right angle, for example in the central part of the Meghalaya plateau. Okay, त्यसपछि आउँछ तिम्रो रेक्टेंगुलर, त्यसपछि आउँछ प्यारलल. यो भयो रेक्टेंगुलर, त्यसपछि आउँछ प्यारलल. A parallel pattern of drainage develops on uniformly sloping rock beds. Here the main rivers and their tributaries flow parallel to each other. For example, in the western coastal plain of India. यहाँ हेर सबै स्ट्रिमहरु के छ एकाअर्कामा parallel छ. That's why यसको नाम के भयो parallel. Where a basin is surrounded by highlands, a centripetal drainage pattern develops. Here the river drains down from the surrounding highlands into the central basin, which may be an ordinary lake or a playa. For example, in the Clyde basin of Africa. Okay. So, त्यसपछि आउँछ अर्को. When the river flows over in a direction from a central point like the spokes of a wheel, the drainage pattern becomes radial or centrifugal. For instance, from the summit of a dome, the rivers often drain outwards and flow in different directions to give rise to a radial pattern of the drainage, as in the Ranchi Plateau. Okay, and here नक्सामा दिएको छ 5 3 अनि त्यसपछि आउँछ annular drainage pattern is a ring-like pattern of a drainage that developed on a maturely dissected dome with alternate bends of hard and soft rocks. The rivers avoid the harder rocks and flows along the soft layers encircling the dome. The annular pattern of the drainage is also called circular pattern. Annular pattern is found in the snapped dome of the Chotanagpur Plateau in India. So, annular pattern को नक्सा हेरेपछि बुझ्छौ तिमीहरुले बीचमा पहाड वरिपरि drainage छ. त्यसपछि आउँछ braided pattern of drainage developed when the tributaries join the main stream in hook-shaped bends. It is often associated with the river capture in India. The braided drainage pattern is found in the highland of Orissa and in the part of Karnataka. Okay. त्यसपछि next Karnataka ridge. The main river flows through the valley. The river originating from the ridge on either side of the valleys drain along the slopes of the ridge into the valley and joins the main river at actual angle, forming its tributaries. Okay. त्यसपछि आउँछ braided drainage pattern. यो pinnate drainage pattern भयो. Braided drainage pattern is formed when the streams divide and reunite several times, resulting in braidings in between the streams island of the sediments form. It is common in delta regions such as the Ganga Brahmaputra delta of West Bengal. So यहाँनिरी बीच बीचमा के बनिन्छ आइल्यान्ड बनिन्छ. ओके. सो यो भयो तिम्रो ड्रेनेज प्याटर्न. अब ड्रेनेज प्याटर्न सकेपछि अर्को प्रश्न छ व्हाट इज मीन बाय interruption of fluvial cycle of erosion. त्योसँगै जोडिएको प्रश्न. During the operation of a normal cycle of erosion, if there is a rise or fall in the sea level, then consequent changes takes place in the level of the land. There is a change in the base level. This is called static changes. This causes a hindrance in the smooth operation of the cycle. This is called an interruption in the fluvial cycle of erosion. The cycle is renewed and started operating from the beginning again. If the land rises due to negative changes of sea level, then the river goes back to its youth stage. This is called rejuvenation. पुनरुत्थान यसलाई के भनिन्छ पुनरुत्थान or being young again. All these features of the young are repeated. The river has to maintain its course through the newly uplifted land masses by cutting deep gorges, and it's now become an antecedent river. This kind of rejuvenation took place in the case of river Indus, Brahmaputra, Satluj, etc. when the Himalayas were uplifted. Hence, most of the Himalayan rivers are antecedent river. So, यो cycle of erosion मा M.W. Morris Davis ले यो कुरा भनेको छ कि जब साइकल मा के आउँछ इन्टरप्सन आउँछ त्यसपछि त्यो फेरि साइकल नयाँ सुरु हुन्छ हैन जसलाई के पनि भनिन्छ निक पोइन्ट भनिन्छ अनि त्यसपछि नयाँ सुरु भएकोलाई चाहिँ पुनरुत्थान अथवा रिजुभिनेसन भनिन्छ सो यहाँसम्म तिमीहरुको यो दुईटा लङ क्वेशन मैले कहिलेको 2016 को गरे यसरी दुईटा प्रश्न म तिमीहरुलाई गरेर 2016 को प्रश्न उत्तर पनि गरेर सकिदिन्छु ओके